Hey, welcome everybody. Guess what? I'm going to do a little short stream before I do stream with Jay at 2 o'clock. I just saw this video of an old favorite, Marty Leeds, the Gnostic Academy cult leader. And he made a little video about apostolic succession that I wanted to run through because he says something really hilariously circular in it. And so I want to expose his retardation. Why? Because Gnostics bring people away from the true church, and they lead people into insanity by chasing folders of knowledge, secret knowledge that they have, that they got 2,000 years later. So we're going to look at the insanity of Marty Leeds real quick. Real manic guy here. So take a look at his claims, shall we? And then, as 2 o'clock approaches, I'll wrap things up. Jump on a dual stream. You could stay right here if you want. Jay and I are going to cover, speaking of Gnostic, we're going to uncover the secret symbols, maybe not so secret, of 2 different movies. So we'll take a look at that. Can I point you to prayers or fasting? Yeah, go to the Orthodox Church. That's where you go. That's where you go for prayers and fasting. Lil Jortax, thank you so much for that. Appreciate you. Appreciate you so much. There we go. Let me see. Get this up. Chat overlay. V. There we go. And does this work? Yeah, it does. All right, let's get right into it because we don't have much time. Okay. So this is Marty. You guys recognize him. He runs his own cult in Idaho or something. And so he's always attacking. He's always doing sort of manic decoder sermons. And it's all just nonsense. It's just complete gibberish. I mean, there's no real practice or ecclesiology from someone like Marty Leeds. It's just diving into secret knowledge. So he's going to attack some of us, and let's just see what he's got to say about apostolic succession.
Apostolic succession refers to the uninterrupted transmission of spiritual authority. There's a spiritual authority. In other words...
Dude done me dirty with that picture. Dude, why? You got to take a picture of me 20 years old? Look at baby Jim Bob. Look at baby Jim Bob. Little baby Jim. Look, you take all of the recent pictures of everyone else, you find a baby picture of me? You son of a bitch. You son of a bitch. All right, well, let's try to focus here, okay? Dead. Just dead. Owned. Pwned. Bro just owned me. Little baby. I was hungry. I was a bit little hungry. A little bit hungry. All right, anyway. Let's try to listen to what he's saying, okay? I know you're distracted. I look like... It's embarrassing. I look like Matt Fradd's partner.
God himself is the one that reaches down and says, when this person is ready, I am going to give them the spiritual authority to properly, interpret the Bible, to really read the Bible, be able to pick out all the characters and all the words and all the dark sayings and all the parables and all the numbers, be able to properly read that, understand it, and then therefore teach it to others.
Not just that, buddy. You're missing a huge point. Empty eyes, demon boy. Look at his eyes. The eyes are the window to the soul. No, Marty. It's not just propositional. I know you wish that Scripture was just propositional. I know you wish and hoped and dreamed and prayed that Scripture is this thing that you're supposed to read and decode. No. Scripture has always been a liturgical document, Marty. You have no liturgy. You have no ecclesiology. You have a cult. You have a little dome that you built in Idaho where you bring in all these lost people who want to figure out secret truth, and you, the cult leader, give them the secret truth and lead them where? Nowhere. They're led to you. They're led to their own thinking. You You filthy heretic. Anyway, no, what you're saying is incorrect. It's not just, the succession isn't just, oh, you could read this now, you could teach this. No, teach what? Teach what? It's practice too.
Apostolic succession refers to the uninterrupted transmission of spiritual authority from the apostles to their successors, primarily bishops, and is physically represented symbolically by the laying on of hands during ordination. And this signifies the passing down from one authority to the next bishop, to the next bishop, to the next bishop. And what, of course, they don't recognize is actually, and this is the laying on of hands, it's the physical act of a bishop placing the hands on the head, and then...
What's a bishop for? You know what I'm saying? Like look, he's appealing to the Bible, right? He holds this Bible and he thinks there's deep truth in it. He agrees that what they have, what the Bible has in it, is authoritative. Is it missing something, Marty? Is it missing anything? Is it including something it shouldn't? Do you know? So this is what gets me about these people. They grab the Bible just like Luther did, just like any of the other cult leaders, you know, Joseph Smith, and they affirm that what they have is worth diving into, that it's authoritative, that it's been preserved. But then they negate the tradition that preserved it. They negate the practical element of liturgy through the succession. What's a bishop, dude? Listen, you're clearly affirming bishops. You're clearly affirming the bishops if you're affirming the Bible. What's a bishop? Why a bishop? Why ecclesiastics? Why authority? Too broke? No worries, dude. Don't worry about it. Okay, so listen. Listen how he just ad hoc takes what he needs and rejects what he doesn't.
It's like, oh, now you have the authority to properly read the Bible.
It's not read the Bible, dude. The Bible is a liturgical document.
With the Bible. This practice is noted in the New Testament, of course, laying on the hands. The gesture symbolizes the bestowal of spiritual power and authority, of course.
Exactly.
And of course, this is what this is all about. Now, what we're saying that this is a mystical understanding of this, and this is what's completely lost by essentially every modern Christian, is that this Jesus laying his hands on, or the symbolism of laying the hands.
Whose contract? This guy has a contract? What, with Beg Bear? Does he have a contract with the big old Beg Bear, Benjamin?
On all has to do with the hands, the actual logos in this sense of the hands, the order, the supernatural, whatever.
Logos is not the order from a Christian view, bro. It's a person. What are you talking about, you pervert?
You want to say
what are you, a pervert?
Pattern that's revealed right in front.
I'm gonna call people perverts now. Like, people think perversion is just sexual. I'm gonna just start calling people a pervert.
Of you is on the hand.
For the church he runs? No, I didn't, but it's fascinating, that's for sure. Thank you, Marat, for that. Appreciate that.
And this is revealed to you when you're ready. Now, right now we have a little thing going online.
Oh, look at that picture. Terrible. Terrible.
In the debate world, which, you know, I keep up with a little bit anyway.
God, this is pre everything. I mean, this is like, what am I, 25? 25 maybe? You bastard. You little bastard.
And basically what you have is a bunch of people that claim that they're Christians, and they're going out and they're doing Christian apologetics. So they're doing debate.
I don't really do Christian apologetics. Neither does Andrew, really. These other guys do. Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah. But
and you get all these sorts of characters like Cotel up there, and Jay Dyer, and your Wes Huffs, and your Aaron Abkeys, and your Trent Horn, and your, you know, Pints with Aquinas, and your Jim Bobs, and your Andrew Wilsons. And you got these guys, and every single one of these guys are essentially arguing for the most part, apostolic succession, or basically their interpretation of the Bible, right?
So are you. Why didn't you put your ugly mug up there, buddy? Why'd you what happened? You're literally doing the same thing, dude.
And a lot of what these guys are saying is that, hey, you need what's known as a normative authority.
That's right.
To properly interpret the Bible.
Correct.
Right? Generally speaking, especially the Orthodox boys down there.
It's not just interpret the Bible, though. This is what people don't understand, is that it's not just interpret the Bible, because the question is baked into the claim. What is the Bible? The Bible was never this thing that you compose that laity and private people could just read and come up with their own thing. It was always liturgical, historically liturgical, and still today liturgical. So it's like this framing is so perverse. He's a pervert. This is a perverse framing because the question is, what is the Bible? What's the purpose of the Bible? Oh, to read it. The purpose of the Bible clearly compiled and fought over and fought for and preserved, in the 4th century and on, preserved so that 2,000 years later, Marty Leeds somewhere in Idaho can start a cult and argue his own interpretation of it, right? That's the purpose? That's your ecclesiology, dude? You're a pervert.
Those ortho bros, they say it's like, in order for you to interpret the Bible properly, you need to be a part of...
That is a big super chat. Oh, listen to what he's saying here. That's Proto Bob. That's Proto Bob. Yeah, Proto Bob.
They say it's like, in order for you to interpret the Bible properly, you need to be a part of this tradition.
No, that's still wrong. We are not sitting around interpreting the Bible over and over again. That's what you don't understand. Yeah, if an Orthodox parishioner reads the Bible, they do that, right? You could read the Bible, right? But that's not, they don't go, I'm interpreting the Bible, and because I'm a part of the Orthodox Church, I'm interpreting it correctly. No. For the most part, in addition to like actual Bible studies with priests, with clergy at the church, most of the Bible is actually delivered liturgically to us. It's within the context of the praxis of the tradition. You can't separate the two. The same way you can't separate some other tradition like farming or knife making, right? You can't separate the documentation of the tradition from the tradition. The documentation of the Bible is the documentation of the tradition. The documentation of some obscure Japanese metalsmith technique, that documentation is inextricably, you cannot separate it from the tradition.
And this tradition is the normative authority for properly interpreting the Bible. And you need a normative authority to properly interpret the Bible.
Yes, if the Bible can be improperly interpreted, it follows that there would be a normative authority to properly. Now, Marty, the irony here is Marty here, he affirms this too. He's just saying he's the authority. Now, this gets wild. He says something so insane. I'm convinced people just don't review their own stuff and, they just don't care what they're saying.
So a normative authority, this is the argumentation. The Orthodox Church is the normative authority for properly interpreting the Bible. Great.
Well, no, I believe that, but the thing is, the Catholics claim that too. And honestly, there's really only two bodies that could actually make that claim, Marty. You're not of that body. So even if there was a hefty debate between Catholicism and Orthodoxy, that's really the only two. That's a true dilemma. There's no third option, bro. There's literally no third option. The reason is the thing you're holding, the Bible, the thing you're actually talking about, interpreting, has a history to it. It didn't fall off your orange tree at your yurt, okay? It's an artifact. It's an artifact of tradition. So what tradition? What tradition? Clearly your tradition, right? If you're going to be a Gnostic, sure, there's a Gnostic culture at the time. But what's your ecclesiology? Is it just lost? Marty here has to take the same approach as the Mormons and Lutherans. He's doing some sort of restoration. He's picking up the corpse of what he believes true Christianity is from some historical period. But how do you know, how do you carry that forth? At least Orthodox and Catholics can argue positively a tracing back of tradition, maintained by practice. By practice. That's tradition, practice. When you have a family tradition, what is it? It's a practice. Do you document the family tradition? You can. Most of the time it happens, but sometimes you don't even need to document it. So a lot of cases, there's oral tradition. Now, I know Marty probably, that means something different in his cult, but it sounds like you're asking the chicken or the egg came first in response to what came first, Christianity or the Bible. Yeah, that's the other thing. You would ask, well, what was the purpose of the Bible being created, Marty? Clearly a church existed before the Bible, right? Was it a Gnostic church?
8. Now interpret it for us so that everybody can understand. What is the parable of the sower? What is the parable? A parable, we understand what a parable means. What does all of that mean? Why 30, 60, and 100?
Lost me when he compared Luther to Joseph Smith. It's very similar, dude. What are you talking about? Luther preceded Joseph Smith by 300 years. Joseph Smith followed suit by saying, we gotta fix this thing. We got to fix this thing. It's the same thing. It's someone assuming church authority while rejecting, assuming their own authority while rejecting all of the authority that preceded them. It's a declarative statement. I'm the new authority. That's what's happening. Of course they can be compared.
100. Why are we given those specific numbers? Who is the sower? Where is the seeds? We understand what a parable is, right? None of these people, they'll argue historicity all day long. They'll argue with each other. They'll call each other idiots and be like, oh, you're not a Christian, whatever, and all this other stuff. And then we're just saying, hey, okay, if you are the normative authority for that book, then please interpret it and explain it to us simply so that we can understand. Do you know what none of them do? That. None of them.
Yeah, we don't do that. We're laity. We're not sitting here interpreting the Bible. Do you understand? That happens inside the church. We don't interpret it to you guys. It's liturgical. It's practical. It's holistic. It's all inclusive. You can't separate it from the paradigm of orthodoxy. We're not interpreting something in a vacuum, dude. You could only make sense of parables through the succession of the teachings, okay? You, Marty, have no successions. There is no succession of your Gnostic heretical cult in Missouri. You cannot trace that back to the apostles at all, historically.
Then they go so far as to say that the Bible
Luther wouldn't be a Lutheran today? Yeah, maybe not. Maybe not.
Needs a normative authority. Okay. Well, the Bible was translated into English. Does English have a normative authority? In other words,
oh my gosh, dude. You see how he switched categories? He went from the meaning of what's written to English, the meaning of translated words, like proper use of translation. Proper use of translation.
In other words, is there an authority, a body of people that is looking over the English alphabet and being like, this is how you do
the English alphabet? Holy crap, dude.
Orthography. This is how
he doesn't understand that, and he's arguing. Look at his face, man. He doesn't understand that he's arguing for epistemic nihilism, relativism. He thinks this is like some sort of gotcha. We can't know anything now. We can't know English. We can't know symbols. There's overlapping symbols.
This is how you do syntax. This is proper spelling. Nope.
Nope. What? Nope. What? You're saying there's no way to know what words mean in English? There's no normative authority, right, in teaching proper English then? Good job. Why are you speaking in sentences then? Why aren't you just making gibberish sounds, bro?
But you need one for the Bible. So
yeah, you do. You need one for the Bible.
So the question becomes, if you take that position, we need a normative authority. We need somebody to tell us how to read that book. Well, you would have to take that position to everybody that's ever written a book.
You could. I wouldn't say every category of a book is the same category. No. But we're talking about practice, right? So if he's going to appeal to Shakespeare, well, no, Shakespeare is a purely creative literary work, right? You could say that the normative authority would be Shakespeare, but if Shakespeare established a succession of authority, which he didn't, but I mean, someone can argue people who studied Shakespeare, closest to Shakespeare, probably have the upper hand, let's say. But Shakespeare itself, as a literary work, itself isn't a practice. It's not a holistic practice. It's a literary work.
What about William Shakespeare? Who's the normative authority for William Shakespeare? Literally nobody.
Well, no, nobody, because he died. But could there be? Could there be? Yes. Could there be? Yes. If Shakespeare, in addition to his literary works, established a school, a college. No, the apostles didn't go to college. But if he established a college to teach what he meant thoroughly, you could actually argue, if they maintain that succession over time, you could actually argue a normative authority. Yes. Well, he needs it. I mean, this guy, his entire career rests on the assumption that Christianity has no normative authority, because then he can be the authority. So that all of his lost cult followers come into his yurt and he preaches to them and they submit to his authority, right? He needs that. He can't have this historical thing that's a backbone of what he's holding in his hand called the Bible. He can't have that.
There's no normative authority for Shakespeare. So then if I'm reading Shakespeare and I want to interpret, how am I going to possibly know if I'm interpreting it correctly? Well, maybe...
Listen to this part. This is so wild he said this, and his brain didn't self-correct while he's speaking. Now, to prove that what he's saying is so insane, I won't actually do commentary, and I'll let the chat point it out.
Interpreting it correctly. Well,
listen.
I want to interpret, how am I going to possibly know if I'm interpreting it correctly? Well, maybe, just maybe, the author himself or themselves put the way to actually properly interpret. They crafted it, encrypted it, encoded it in the book itself. Did you ever think about that?
Well, guys, let's go to the chat. Have you ever thought about that? Hey, have you guys ever thought about that? Ooh, a puzzle. Hey, have you ever guys thought about that? Well, oh, actually, hold on, Marty. You might be onto something. In order to know what the meaning of the text is, have you considered looking to the text? Huh. We got ourselves a real genius. I'm sincerely failing to understand how he believes he's making any kind of argument. He's not. He's a rhetoric machine. Clearly, he's not using logic and reasoning. Hey, Marty, I don't know. This probably won't get through your thick skull. But if the question is, how do I properly interpret text? And your answer is, the way to do that is hidden in the text. You need to now know the proper interpretation of what's hidden in the text.
I just get so mad. I just get so mad.
Dude, it's wild. It's wild. Thanks for the pre-stream. To the dire stream, I needed this. I'm been thumb warring with... Yeah, I stopped thumb warring. Rip. I stopped thumb warring. I took X off of my phone. I still have it on my desktop for reviewing stuff, but I took it off my phone. It's a waste of my life.
I mean...
Here, let's do... Look, we have a tradition here, too. What we do is when people say really dumb shit, we do it in slow motion.
Oh, maybe...
Let's do it.
So then if I'm reading...
Listen to this guy. Listen to this guy.
Shakespeare and I want to interpret, how am I going to possibly know if I'm interpreting it correctly? Well, maybe, just maybe, the author himself or themselves put the way to actually properly interpret. They crafted it, encrypted it, encoded it in the book itself. Do you ever think about that?
It's last call, sir. You got to get out of the yurt. You got to go home. Can we call you an Uber, sir? If you read the Bible on the third full moon of the year while in the northern hemisphere, all of it will be made clear to you, plus a calculator. Did I ever think about that? Yeah. Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah, I did think about that, Marty. And there was a reason I rejected that is because it appeals to the thing in question, Marty. You pervert.
I mean, the Bible is considered one of the greatest book ever written by at least folks like myself. You would think that whoever wrote it was probably pretty damn connected to God, pretty damn smart.
The person who wrote the Bible was connected to God? Huh.
Think that, hey, maybe people in the past will come to this and...
Notice how his paradigm is about intelligence. He's so revealing, this guy. His whole paradigm is smartness. Who's smart? Who figured it out? I'm intelligence. I got the secret answers. I'm Gnostic. I know things. You know what I mean? He's so transparent. He doesn't know, as he's drooling his heresy, he doesn't even understand that he's showing everybody his paradigm. It's Gnostic. It's smartness. It's intelligence. That's his standard. Intelligence. Decoding. I'm smart. The guy who wrote it was really smart. Don't you guys know the guy who wrote the Bible, the book of books, the compilation of books, was really smart? And what's interesting is that the authoritative body, the church at the time, all the way up until the end of the 4th century, notice how they weren't sitting around with their Jewy Gnostic ciphers that came hundreds of years later. So tell me, Marty Leeds, how is it you're using ciphers that have no historical basis in the compilation of the Bible? Where's the practice of the Orthodox Church in compiling and preserving the Bible, sitting around and instead of playing what would be equivalent to chess or something, they're trying to figure out the secret knowledge of the Bible mathematically?
If they go into the book, they'll actually be able to, within the book, find the keys in the book to be able to unlock everything that's in the book. Did you think about that?
Yeah, we thought about that. And that doesn't make sense because that also requires a normative authority, you dummy. Is there an improper way to unlock the codes of the Bible, Marty? So let me get this straight. You don't need a normative authority for the Bible. You can just unlock the codes of the Bible, which requires a normative authority of properly unlocking the codes of the Bible. It's wild. And this all just comes pouring out of his mouth. You know? It just comes pouring. I need consistency. Well, wait a second. Is this a new time? No, this isn't a new time. I'm actually late. This is a stream, really quick stream before a stream. So I'm only going to be here another 45, 50 minutes. I just needed to get this out because I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Okay.
What about James Joyce? Who's the normative authority for James Joyce? How about Ovid's Metamorphosis? Who's the normative authority for Ovid's Metamorphosis? How do we know whether, if we're reading this correctly, if we're interpreting it correctly?
Yeah, that's a good question. It's totally possible that some books you lost the normative authority to know the true meaning of it. That's possible. That is possible. But that doesn't change the fact that if there was a true meaning of a book and its practice, a book of books, if it was maintained, you'd be able to see it. Now, if you're arguing that there just isn't one, you're just as cooked as everyone else, dude. It's the same problem for you. If you're going to argue against the historical church, which has a way better position on normative authority than you, all you're saying is, I'm the normative authority. Stop pretending that you're not saying that you're the normative authority. Hey, you truther, your live truthering, you guys must have covered this guy a million times, right? Enslaved by Truth? I assume you guys ran through this hoe.
How about Dante's Inferno?
Have I talked to him? I've talked to him many times. Many times. I've had him on my show. Have you ever thought about asking me if I've had him on the show? Huh? Have you ever thought about thinking? I'm not just doing insults. You prick. Ban that guy. He's done. You're not in Jortlandia anymore. Benjamin, 1928. Get out of here. Out of here. Into the ocean. If you don't hear what I'm saying, in addition to the small amount of insults I use, you need to get the hell out of here. Good luck on the raft. Beat it.
So what we have here is a bunch of essentially, egomaniacs.
Listen to this. This is the funniest. We're the egomaniacs. Listen to this. Listen to this statement.
That are leading the charge online right now.
I'm the egomaniac for saying I'm not the authority for interpreting Scripture. I'm not the authority for what constitutes the true meaning of Christianity. I have to appeal to thousands of years before me. I'm the egomaniac. Okay, this guy, these two guys, this guy, and this little guy right here, all of us, maybe him a little bit, but not him and not him and not him really. Maybe him too. We, at least five of us, appeal to authority that's not us. That's an egomaniac move? In contrast to what? Listen to this statement that comes right after calling other people egomaniacs. Listen to this statement.
About how to have Christ in your heart, apparently. I don't know. I don't know what they're doing.
You don't know what they're doing. Why are you critiquing a bunch of people you don't know what they're doing?
So the problem with all of these characters and literally every church you go to essentially today.
Except for the Gnostic church, right? Look at this. Look at this graph. This guy's a real mental pervert. God Gnosis? I'm sorry, what? That isn't even, look, that's not even what these denominations even hold to. Look, God Gnosis, and then all these people. No. What? You sick man. You're a sick man.
Is that none of these people, none of these traditions can properly interpret the Bible, can point out what any of the math means, what any of this
the math
symbolism means, for the most part, because you know what they all lack? The knowledge to do so.
Can you guys get this? The irony of this? He just claimed everyone on the screen was a bunch of egomaniacs. The people who say, no, I don't have the personal knowledge myself to interpret all of this in a holistic way. I have to appeal to something greater. We say that. That's what I say.
Are Gnostics even willing to debate? I hear Gnostic informant is
He's not a
supposedly the
Gnostic.
biggest threat to the Otho brothers.
He's not. And he's not a Gnostic. That's just a name. Yeah, Marty's debated before. He gets completely blown out every time. He goes into this manic spurging about meaning and math, and he's like, tell me what it means then. You tell me what it means then. But get this. He just called a bunch of people egomaniacs, and the people that he pointed to, including myself, appeal to someone outside of myself that comes before me. A much bigger body, a much more historical body. That's what I do. He, however, right after that statement says, you know why? Because they don't have the knowledge. The translation is, Marty Leeds has the knowledge. I'm sorry, Marty. What's more egotistical than that? Is that 2,000 years of tradition in Christianity that's passed down through rigorous practice, that they're egotistical and they don't have any wisdom or knowledge, but you have all the knowledge.
The Gnosis. Baptist, Catholic, Protestant, Seventh-day, Methodist, Evangelical, Jehovah's Witness, as I like to say, pick your poison. Every single one of these traditions, not only do they not have the Gnosis, when the Gnosis is actually presented to them, they'll be wailing and gnashing of teeth, call you a demon, call you a heretic. I remember when I first picked up the Bible.
Yeah? Is there such a thing as a heretic or not? Is there such a thing as a heretic, Marty? In the Church of Gnostic Academy, is there a heretic? No? He's desperate? Yeah. I mean, he's probably got a core loyal cult following that's sort of like in-house, local Missouri, right? He's probably got some lingering beartards that maybe moved away from Owen cult into Marty cult. But he's got no ecclesiology. That's the thing that kills all of these cults. They have no ecclesiology. There's nothing tracking back. There's no church structure. When he dies, when Marty Leeds dies, Lord have mercy on his soul, his church dies. There's no way to maintain his iteration of true Gnostic Christianity. He can't maintain it because it's him. It's him. No different than the cool, tight jeans wearing, pseudo stand-up comic Protestant, whatever, a modern church teacher, who's doing he's on the stage making jokes. When that guy dies or moves, that church is gone.
Again, I was like, let me pick this thing up. I want to get into this and read this and see what this is all about. I remember getting, 50 pages into it. I'm like, what the heck is all this? What the heck am I even reading here? And that's pretty much the experience that lots of people get with the Bible, right? And then, of course, the people that say you need a normative authority, well, to truly understand it, you need to go to all saints and they will explain it to you. Great, now explain it to me. You can't. Okay. So when I picked up the Bible
What do you mean you can't? You get the wisdom and knowledge and practice of orthodoxy in orthodoxy. It's not a purely propositional practice like you're doing, dude. Your entire paradigm is so broken, Marty Leeds. You think Christianity or any other truth is purely propositional. Explain something to me propositionally. Please, do it to me. Download. And you're like, why? It's a simple question for these people. Hey, Marty, let's say I download all of your amazing Gnostic wisdom, okay?
In my land we have an ancient saying, beware the earth for it leads to Gnosticism. Our other saying is ringa dinga 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 singa binga dinga dinga binga ringa dinga dinga.
When it comes down to this, let's say I adopt and download all of Marty's personal decode wisdom. Guess what? There's no practice for it. There's no practice. What's your practice? Doing numbers all day? Describing things? What's your practice? How do you participate? Well, you just go back to the Bible and decode it, and then you do sermons to your cult following in the yurt. And they're like, whoa, I never looked at it that way, man. Gravy. That's it. You got no ecclesiology. You cannot maintain this. When you're done, this particular brand of Gnosticism that you've produced in this lifetime, nothing. Blip. It's gone. Orthodoxy will maintain itself. You will not. Your little scud mark called the Gnostic Academy is just a blink, a blip, nothing, a speck of dust. These kinds of off guys will inevitably resort to AI interpretation to solve. They might actually. That's gonna be. I think that's already happening, where people are going, I'm gonna do an AI Gnostic app.
I was younger. I remember reading it and beginning to read the Bible and thinking that there was some key missing to unlock all the meanings of these stories. I remember specifically thinking it. I'm like, there's something missing here. There's a bit of information, a key, something to let us know who is Adam and Eve, where are these people, why should I care about this, etc., etc. All the questions. And that was my first thought. I was like, this is missing something. The Bible has keys. The book itself is locked until the keys to it are given by its actual authority. Do you know who the normative authority, the actual normative authority for the Holy Bible is? It's God himself.
No. Normative authority. Ultimate authority. Normative authority. Ultimate authority. This guy just lost. I mean, that alone, that statement that he just collapsed the distinction between normative authority and absolute authority. He just refuted all of church history. He just refuted that Christ started a church with men to be the carriers of the church. So he doesn't have access to the Bible now. The garage keys. So now you get the same thing with Joseph Smith. This guy is no different mechanically as Joseph Smith. He's now the authority. Now he's saying God transmits directly to Marty Leeds' bald head the authority. Direct link. He didn't even need the Bible, by the way. That's the thing, is why need the Bible then, right? If Marty Leeds is the revelator, you don't need the Bible. Why are you decoding the Bible, bro? Why are you decoding the Bible? You don't need to. Just think in your head. I mean, talk about pride. I mean, wow. Pray for this guy. The level of pride that this requires.
God himself has his hands in all of this. You want to actually know what the Bible says? You don't go to an authority of man, because the Bible says to do that.
Okay. Well, you're a man, and why are we listening to you? That requires a slowdown.
You want to actually know what the Bible says? You don't go to an authority of man, because the Bible says to do that.
Wow.
This guy's only practice is fleecing money from gullible fools at nice old people. I would know. A bunch of my friends put on a headset and do that every day. Ja 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 ja.
Ja 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 ja. Ja 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 ja. So there you have it. We shouldn't be listening to Marty Leeds. Now here's the dilemma here. If you say don't listen to man, listen to God, and I go, yeah, but Marty, you're a man. He has to then say, no, but I have a direct. Then he has to say, well, no, I'm actually the voice of God. And these people have the nerve to call other people prideful and egotistical. Total projection, man. You're in a yurt. You started your own church in a yurt. I wouldn't trust this guy to decode green eggs and ham.
This says not to do that, not to go to like men as authority. No, you go to God himself.
So you're God? Why do you have a cult, dude? Why are you doing videos? You sick, sick man. You're a pervert.
What the Bible's trying to do is to get you to have the gnosis, the Gnostic experience, where God metaphysically reaches his hand down and says, "You're ready, son. You're ready."
See what I'm saying? You got to be, how prideful do you have to be? This is like Pentecostals. They think they're receiving a direct transmission from God, and they have the pride and gall to say, yeah, that's what Marty's admitting right now. In his yurt, he believes, I love that his fan looks like a propeller hat. It's so appropriate that his fan looks like a propeller hat. He's assuming he's getting that. The hand of God, according to Marty Leeds, is literally palming his little bald skull and going, here is your direct, here is your knowledge, here is your knowledge. Well, in that case, we shouldn't be listening to you. We should all individually be sitting there, building our own yurts, and waiting for God to grab our skulls with his hand, right?
That's happened to me. Now, what's fun?
That's happened to me. I was just joking. Listen to this. Fucking nut job.
You're ready
Listen to this.
to have the gnosis, the Gnostic experience, where God metaphysically reaches his hand down and says, "You're ready, son. You're ready." That's happened to me.
That's happened to me. Yeah. You know how many other people claim that? Joseph Smith, Muhammad. Where are the egotistical ones? Where are the egotistical ones? No, that really happened to me in my yurt. God transmitted the truth through me, Marty Leeds. You guys are just egotistical. You relying on 2,000 years of preserved tradition. You leaning on other understanding of something that's deeper than you and bigger than you. You egotistical crazies. Me? I have God antennas. I am Marty Leeds. I ready for transmission. Beep boop, beep boop, beep boop, beep boop.
Now, what's
You nut job?
funny is that this doesn't come from nowhere.
He looks angry. Oh yeah, look at his face. Look at his eyes.
It's not like I'm just like, oh, this is my special interpretation. No, what I'm doing is representing a tradition properly and honestly.
Oh, what's the tradition? Traditions are, look, he just contradicted himself. Marty, you are in such spiritual delusion, it's actually frightening. Talk about the chair? No. You're not. Look, he's here. You're not even in this conversation, dude. You're not even in this conversation. You just said you have a true tradition. There is no definition or referent for a tradition that doesn't come before you. So you just contradicted yourself. You said, I don't lean on any man. I don't lean on anyone else. I go directly to God. And yet you just said there's a tradition. I don't know, Marty. Were you born with the knowledge of Gnosticism and decoding gematria and all this? Or did you have to learn that? Did you learn autodidactically about a whole slew of assumptions and interpretations and metaphysics in Gnosticism? Ciphers, meaning, translations, symbols. Those existed before you, right? You just contradicted yourself, dude. Total contradiction. P, don't appeal to men. Not P, appeal to men. You just said it yourself. Listen closely.
It's not like I'm just like, oh, this is my special interpretation. No, what I'm doing is representing a tradition properly and honestly.
A tradition. It has to come before you, a tradition, dude. To say I'm properly representing a tradition means that the tradition existed before you existed, and a tradition is maintained by human beings, men, carried forth by men. You just said don't appeal to men. P, don't appeal to men. Not P, appeal to men. See, you don't even care about contradictions, dude.
And as we know, and even Orthodox will tell you this, the fight between these traditions have lasted a long time. So there's a long-standing tradition, there's this long-standing fight between the churches and then the Gnostics. Because the Gnostics were standing outside, they're like, they're just following the
I'm sorry, were Gnostics men, Marty? Are you just leaning into your contradiction? Oh, the Gnostics, are those men?
traditions of men. They don't really know anything. They have actual no insights into the Bible whatsoever. And if they did...
Really? Who compiled the Bible that you're holding in your little cult yurt, dude? So you're saying the Orthodox, through the centuries, through bishops, through church fathers, through councils, compiling what you call the Bible.
Do you know why we have two hands? So we can hold the Bible. Thank you. Come again.
Listen to what this guy's saying. The people, the men who compiled the Bible that he's appealing to, has all these codes in it, was not compiled by Gnostics. Right? But he views the Bible, the compilation of the Bible, as the right set of books, compiled by not Gnostics. What does he think? Gnostics were just like somehow getting their way? The church fathers who rejected Gnosticism and other heresies, they accidentally compiled the right Gnostic texts.
They'd be giving to you in spades, but they don't. Why? Because they're not seeking out Christ honestly.
Did I release Nose on the Grindstone? Yeah, I did.
At all. The Gnostic tradition has been calling these guys out for a long time.
Yo, one more chat.
The traditional dogmas of the church, which have come down to us through the centuries, are gross materializations of the real teachings as the spiritual nature of man as contained in the capital Gnosis, the Gnosis. The spiritual knowledge that is given directly by God.
Well, it wasn't given to you directly by God because you just appealed to ancient traditions. So you got an ecclesiology problem, Marty Leeds. It's the same. Like, that's the way you really take out all these cults. They have no ecclesiology. It's totally arbitrary. It's totally feeling-based. Marty Leeds, just like, Joseph Smith and every other Mormon, has to say, no, I really feel it in my mind that it's the right thing. Don't rely on traditions before you, right? Constant contradiction, man. Appeal to your own mind. Appeal to God himself. He's going to deliver you the truth. Also, there's a 2,000-year-old past, maybe older, of Gnosticism. Dude, just face it. You're just a Jew.
Cool it with the anti-Semitic remarks.
These dogmas are the result of literal historicizing, I'm saying that incorrectly, historizing, whatever, of narratives. It's exactly what we say. You made all these narratives into literal history. You're forcing the history.
Nope. Practice is not a narrative. That's the thing we have that you don't have, Marty. You don't have a practice. You can't tie your tradition to a praxis with an authority. To practice something correctly means there's an authority. To practice makumgane, the ancient Japanese layered metalsmith technique, requires an authority. Certain types of farming and hunting that are passed down through tradition require a certain type of authority to pass down these traditions. He thinks everything's a narrative. Everything with these people is a narrative. It's symbols, narratives about symbols, what the true meaning of narratives are, what the true meaning of parables, deep meaning, this kind of stuff. There's no practice, though. There's nothing he's practicing. The only practice Marty Leeds has is a bunch of lost people sitting around his yurt, listening to him say things, listening to his pseudo sermons. That's it. The practice is listen to Marty. That's it. That's your practice. You got no tradition. Look, Marty, if you stop what you're doing right now, your tradition, that you wouldn't even know it died because it doesn't exist. There's nothing there that exists. It's literally just propositions and talking about symbols and math. That's it.
History on it, and therefore, because you do this, you cannot make any insights into this. In some cases, having a semi-historical basis, just as we said, doesn't say this isn't based on history, or doesn't say isn't, inspired by history. These dogmas are the result of the literal historizing of narratives, in some cases, however, having a semi-historical basis, which were originally intended as allegories.
Nope. No. What's the intention of the composition of the Bible, Marty Leeds? You little slippery snake weasel, you little pig snake, you little Gnostic pig snake, you. See, you just lie to people. You just lie. That's probably why so much of your existence is counter something authority. You have to focus on the counter because you don't have a positive position to stay in. You don't have a church without the opposition. Your entire identity is oppositional. It doesn't have a positive ontology. Just like a Protestant view, it's defined by what it opposes. You don't have your own system. And no, you keep lying, dude. The purpose of the compilation of the Bible was not to simply recite parables and narratives. It's a liturgical document. And even before the New Testament was officially compiled, when you go back in through history, you see that the early practice before and after the Second Temple destruction was liturgical also. Yeah, he was here. He had a little pithier response, but he can't actually engage with anything being said.
Covering deep spiritual truths. And the fact that we know that this Bible, even by as we'll get into the fourfold patristic approach, tells us that there's these great mysteries and spiritual truths behind them, none of the current churches at all are showing you any of them.
See? Just question begging. It's like assume your own position is the truth, but you have no justification that it's the truth. Why? You have no system to go back through time and say this is the proper interpretation and use of Scripture. It's all propositional, dude. Gnosticism is perfect for cult leaders. It's perfect.
Are unearthing them.
Oh, yeah, he's going to go Spurg. He's going to do like 10 posts. You know what I mean? They're all the same types of people. Like these maniacal cult leaders, when their ego gets burned from stupid shit that they said by people like me, they go like, it's like 5 posts in a day. Next up, you should debunk this one, Bob. What proper biblical interpretation looks like? Yeah, you got no arguments. You know what I'm saying? Like nothing you're saying. Like I produced the contradiction in your view. You don't even address it. You don't even address the contradiction in your view. You're like, hey, by the way, here's more asserting.
Are giving you keys, inroads to understanding them. No.
You just said there's no proper way to interpret the Bible. Dude, your first major point, Marty, do you understand the problem with it? Should we repeat what you said? Should we repeat it? I remember what you said. You said this. If I wanted to know the proper interpretation of the Bible, have you ever thought that maybe it's in the Bible? That's what you said. Hey, if you really wanted to know the proper interpretation of the Bible, have you ever considered that it might be in the Bible? Not listening because Yeah, you got nothing, dude. You're getting, dude, you're a cult leader. It's pathetic. It's sad. You have an ego. You think you're the big teacher. But then when people like me come along and go, nope, you're in contradictions. You're leading people astray. You have no ecclesiology. Your entire cult is based on your ideas purely. Just like Joseph Smith. And then you can't refute anything. Like, I just presented a problem, a circular problem in your thinking, your epistemology. You don't care. You don't care about contradictions because you're a sophist. And cult leaders have the advantage of being a sophist because they rely on weak-minded people who are spiritually misled, and they're looking for a shepherd. You're actually a wolf. You're a wolf because you're relying on the good nature of people to try to find the shepherd. And you're like, I'm the shepherd, guys. Look at how fancy I do with the symbols and math. I must know something you don't. I have the secret knowledge. You don't. It's pathetic, man.
All they're doing is getting online with a bunch of massive egos and calling each other idiots.
Says the guy who literally said in this video, right? You guys have massive egos. By the way, God literally gave me secret knowledge. Hey, you guys with the egos who are appealing to 2,000 years of not leaning on knowledge of yourself, for leaning on your own knowledge, you guys have massive egos. By the way, go to the Church of Marty Leeds Academy in a yurt. I have secret knowledge. Dude, you can't write this stuff.
This is Christianity for you today. And so we as Gnostics are forced to call out the fact. I don't even want to do it. I'm forced to do this because I'm like, look, guys.
Oh, it's so pious.
Those guys don't know anything.
Says the guy who's calling people egotistical. They don't know anything. You know everything.
And they're showing.
Dude, your pride. It's like your aura. It's just it's radial pride. It's radiating. It's like a pride parade. You pervert.
It to you. And let me give you an example, and I did this in an after service.
An after service? What's the service? What was the service, Marty? You talking? I did a service this morning. I did a sermon this morning. I have no ecclesiology, but I did a service this morning.
This is Robert Barron. And I said he should be ashamed of himself.
Oh, shame.
He should be absolutely ashamed of himself as a spiritual leader to say the things that he's saying. Because what he's doing is showing that he's not made one step on the road towards Christ, towards understanding the mysteries at all. Okay? This is Robert Barron. He is a figurehead in the Catholic religion today, okay? Speaks around the world, talks to guys like Jordan Peterson and stuff. So Robert Barron interprets so we all know the story of the 153 fish in John, right?
We're going to get math decoding.
Bishop Robert Barron interprets the 153 fish in John 21:11 as symbolizing the universe. Oh, so you're going to say it's a symbol now. Okay, cool. Okay. So you understand it's symbolic.
Yeah, this is a common theme in Catholicism.
But you just don't know the symbolism.
You do, though. You know it.
Bishop Robert Barron interprets the 153 fish in John 21:11 as symbolizing the universal mission of the church to gather all people, every nation, class, and time into salvation through Christ.
Oh, yeah. The energy is way off, dude. You just look at his eyes.
And then, of course, he drew on traditions of like St. Augustine that said that St. Augustine, in the very symbol that a lot of these guys they might even have on the back of their car.
By the way, Gnostic Marty, you should know this by now, that Christianity also has a tradition of consecrating and taking symbols and making them good. Do you understand that? So it's not really saying much to say, look, there's a symbol and there's a reference for a symbol. That wasn't the original symbol. Yeah, no shit. That's like saying, hey, when the Christian church takes a building or a location that was otherwise used for demonic activity and they consecrate it and they repurpose the building, Marty Leeds is like, you guys don't even know the original use of this building. I'm the smart one. This is so low tier, dude. Unfortunately, you're only going to garnish the dumbest followers from this stuff. You're going to start doing math, and you're going to, watch how he maths the symbol. Watch this.
This is geometry 101. This is where this comes from. It's not even contestable. The 153 comes from the...
Hey, buddy, what prescriptive ought? What normative practice do we get from geometry? That's a good question to ask these people. They'll never answer a direct question, though. I've interacted with Marty so many times. He does not answer to direct questions.
The Vescopisces. The Vescopisces is formed, as you know, this is the basics of geometry, of literally just putting two circles together. You put two circles together, and then you create literally the Jesus fish. That proportions out in whole numbers to two very specific numbers.
Oh, no.
Uncontestable. Very well known in a study of sacred geometry, which basically just means a religious study of geometry. That's all it is.
Oh, wow.
And that's where it comes from.
That's amazing, Marty. Now what?
Very architecture that's used in doorways that they enter into a church. The very architecture that we know that, hey, if you've done any sort of study onto Christian paintings and art and things like that, you'll see, hey, it's not just your doorways. So here we have the doorway of every single church, not every single, but a lot of these ancient churches, as we know, being literally crafted by the Vescopisces, the main symbol of Christianity coming from a fish in the Vescopisces, the fish being measured without question or controversy with 153. And do you know what that gives us?
Let's add it. Let's add it and do math, Marty. Let's do math, Marty. The true praxis of Christianity is literally doing math.
The square root of the Trinity.
The square root of the Trinity? That's incoherent. The square root of the Trinity? Oh my gosh, man. And this works on people. These poor schmoes in Missouri. No wonder he went to Missouri, too. I mean, no offense to people from Missouri, but I mean, it's just a demographic thing, you know? Simple people looking for truth, maybe easily swayed by smarty pants people who, you know, dump massive amounts of information on their heads. And they go, well, he must know something I don't. I want to learn from Marty. I want to learn from him. These poor schmoes.
And
what's the Trinity cubed? He just said the square root.
None of them know.
Or
none of them know. And if they do know,
look at the baby Jim Bob.
They certainly don't know what it means, why it's important. None of them. Ask Wes Huff. Ask Made by Jim Bob.
It's not important because mathematical descriptions and decoding things, Marty Leeds, doesn't tell you what you ought to practice. You dumpster fire. You pervert. Okay, cool. Now what, Marty? What do we do now? What do we practice? How do we practice? We don't. We do math, and you listen to me.
Ask Trent Horn. Ask Robert Barron.
What a crock of shit, yeah.
Bishop.
Ask these people about the true decoding of symbols that says nothing about praxis, how we ought to live.
You see how much of a clown show it is. We also know that
a clown show?
That all of these guys talk about apostolic succession. They say, our guys went all the way back to when Jesus was here and the apostles were here and the bishops were here and when Paul was writing his letters and blah.
So do you. You are holding a Bible, the thing you're using as a referent to do all your decoding. You're appealing to a bunch of people, right? Yes? Does he think that the Bible grew on a gematria tree? What in the gematria is he saying?
Blah, 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 blah. And so then they have a list of saints all the way back to 45. 12 years after Jesus died, according to them. 12 years. Questions for those touting apostolic succession. Now,
in all caps?
They're never going to answer these questions because in order to answer these questions, you would have to provide exactly what I'm asking for. Where are the brothers and sisters and cousins and aunts and uncles and nephews of literally anybody in the Bible? Literally.
What? That's a total different question than whether or not you can trace succession from Christ and the apostles. The apostles taught people. Those people taught bishops. Those bishops taught other people. That's documented. What is he talking about? This guy's a lunatic. Absolute lunatic. I just got here, but I'm missing his... You don't have a point. You don't know what you're talking about.
Literally,
What is he talking about? He just totally jumped topics. He's in a constant contradiction. He is appealing to a history that's well documented while questioning the validity of its documentation. So he's saying, listen to what he jumps to. Listen to the jump he makes. Like the poor schmucks that pay this guy to be a part of his church or whatever, get baptized in orange juice or whatever the fuck they do in their yurt, right? They don't get these jumps that he makes. Like he talks so fast that they're just like, I don't know.
Jesus died, according to them, 12 years.
Listen, he's talking about apostolic succession. Apostolic succession is referring to Christ establishing a church and the continuation of that teaching. That's what that's referring to. Notice how he jumps away from that. Watch this.
Questions for those touting apostolic succession. Now, they're never going to answer these questions, because in order to answer these questions, you would have to provide exactly what I'm asking for. Where are the brothers and sisters and cousins and aunts and uncles and nephews of literally anybody in the Bible? Literally anybody.
See that? He doesn't care. Look at his face. He doesn't care. Oh, you guys think that there's such a thing as apostolic succession? Going back to Christ himself and the apostles? Huh. Well, tell me. Something
Jib
totally...
boom. Half black here. Imagine a first century Christian hearing this about square roots and door architecture and going, cool. So should I go to church and pray and fast and stuff, or should I just put a coin in your soapbox so you go away?
Yep. Yeah, there's no praxis. There's no real praxis of Gnosticism other than chasing propositions. And that's what inflates the ego. Think about it. You're appealing to your own rationality and reasoning to figure out stuff that gives you a feedback loop that you figured out stuff, sending you further into figuring out stuff. It's like the ultimate system for prelest. It literally tells you, it's a feedback system that tells you that you're saying the right things. It rewards your intellect. That's what Gnosticism does. It rewards your intellect. Oldest depiction of Yeshua, have him holding a wand. Explain. Explain? I don't know. What do you mean explain? What do you mean explain? Wands? You're asking, let's dive into the symbols of holding a wand? Is that what you're asking? I mean, what are you calling a wand? A wand is a specific word that's habitually associated to certain things. You saying something is a wand is kind of assuming something, right? So what are we... I mean, I don't know.
Why do we...
Is that a bagel? He might be a bagel. I think Marty...
We not have dates for nearly every event in the Bible?
By his logic, I should know the entire family of any historical figure, yeah. Well, it's totally irrelevant, too. He's saying... He basically focused on apostolic succession and said, okay, apostolic succession? Apostolic succession. Okay, if you think you have apostolic succession, why don't you have an actual lineage of everyone back to Moses then?
There's no dates in it. There's no... And 4 AD, this happened. Nothing. Why was the family tree of Christ and the disciples no longer kept up? In the opening pages, as we know, it gives you a family tree. You can't say, well, we lost that information. No, it literally gives you the family tree all the way back to Abraham.
What does that have to do with apostolic succession, dude? Apostolic succession, Marty leads, has to do with Christ starting a church and a teaching and setting off the Great Commission with the apostles to teach the gospel. That's what that's referring to. You're like, let's not talk about that. Let me dump a morass of other things in before that.
Then you guys say, right when Jesus died, within basically a decade, you've got your guys right there being like, we've got the apostolic succession. And then we say, well,
what do you think apostolic succession is, dude? What do you think apostolic means? The claim from an Orthodox position is that Christ started a church and he taught men what the church is and how to teach it and how to keep it. That's what that is. It's Episcopal and Eucharistic. What do you think? What do you think it's referring to in the word?
well, where is literally any aunts, uncles, cousins, nephews, anybody, literally anybody? No records of any of the living family tree from the...
That's a red herring. It's irrelevant. That's a non sequitur. It's not a lineage claim, you dipshit. Do you think apostolic succession means they all had, kids and only the kids? This is wild, man. Oldest, quote, church has a Pisces mosaic on the floor. Explain relation to Jesus being represented by a fish. Well, the fish, if you're going to get into symbolism is going to change, right? The symbol of something historically held by some people might not maintain. Like there's a fish symbol in Orthodox Christianity. There's an eye symbol in Orthodox Christianity. There's a variety of symbols. Symbols themselves, like the fish, Big League Drew, doesn't tell you who's using the symbol and for what. So all you're saying is, look, explain this. Symbols can be explained in a variety of ways depending on what time frame you're in. There's competing symbols in time frames. You know that? So I don't know what you're referring to. If you're going to make a claim, make a claim. Don't ask a question. This is like evolution proponents. They're like, well, explain why there's DNA in this section. I don't need to. You're the one making the claim.
As the Orthodox say, fully man, fully God that was on earth walking around, and you guys didn't keep up the family tree.
That's not apostolic succession's not a family tree. This is like crazy, dude. Like I feel like I'm visiting like a crazy person, like a rubber room place. If you guys have apostolic succession, then why is it you don't have a family tree? Do you think the laying of hands and the passing of the tradition authoritatively requires a blood check? 23andMe, but for apostles? What are you rambling about, dude?
What were the names of the sisters of Jesus? What happened to the progeny of his family? The
sisters of Jesus? Holy crap, dude. All this guy does is just ask questions. This is manic shit. This is just this is a manic person. Well, where's all this? And I'm going to ask more questions. I have questions for you. Then say, if you can't answer the incoherent question I'm asking that smuggles in assumptions in my question, then, I mean, what are you talking about, dude? Justin says, for example, in regards to symbols, skull is the past for Orthodox referred to death. Golgotha. Interesting name. If I had another daughter. Crucifixion, location, realm of Satan. Now we have skulls, relics, and memento mori. Yeah, skulls. Still, we could use skulls for a symbol. It's like, why was this symbol? I don't know. There's a lot of symbols used. Explain why before Jesus the Bible is filled. The Bible before Jesus. Explain why before Jesus the Bible is filled with ram symbol, aka Aries. What do you mean symbol? The Bible is filled with letters, and letters are symbols too. Do you guys understand how manic you sound? Did you know that everything on the screen is a symbol? Are you aware that words are symbols? Are you aware that letters are symbols? Why do you keep saying, explain this? What do you mean? That's not even an argument. That's not even coherent. Then explain why before Jesus, the Bible, what was the Bible before Jesus? What are you talking about? Can you tell me what the Bible is? What are you talking about? The Bible before Jesus? Are you talking about the Old Testament? Are you talking about the Torah? What are you saying? Lame response. No, it's a lame comment. All you're doing is explain symbols in the Bible. Any text is symbols. That's like saying, explain to me why they used a T shape for this sound. It doesn't say anything, dude. What did I say about gematria people? They experience the world like this. When they see a number or a symbol, they think it's an event. Is it satire? No, I don't think it's satire. I don't think it, because he posted about me, so his whole cult is over here, and I've never actually seen that name. But if he's satire, good on you. If that's satire, that's good satire, dude. That's really good.
Disciples. Did the disciples or any of the apostles, did they have family?
You don't, oh my gosh, dude. You're a lunatic, bro. You're a lunatic. So wait a second. You're going to say that the apostles taught other men and 70 more, and that bishops were taught, and that there was a church that was maintained such that it could be corrected over time when they when people went astray? Where are their sons? Where are their dogs? Did they have parakeets? What kind of pets did they have? Where is their blood tests? Nut job. Total nut job. Crazy. It just becomes so incoherent, like in such a short period of time. It just kind of like, it starts like this, and then it just like goes, just collapses into gibberish. And this is like a theme with Marty Leeds, and it's the same. If you go watch Zach Hubbard, you'll see the same exact pattern. It's a couple of claims about symbols and then numbers as events. And then when you question them, they go into this like spurg fest of just saying and then asking questions. Well, then explain this. You explain to me why it is that Kobe Bryant had Thanksgiving not on Thanksgiving Day the way everyone else does, but had it on this specific date and number that matches his jersey. But not only his jersey, Muggsy Bogues. You know how tall Muggsy Bogues was? He was 5'2". What's 5 plus 2? 7. You explain that, Jim Bob. You explain that. Like, I don't need to explain anything. You're the one making the claims, nut job. Can I be your shoe? I really want to be your shoe. Anyway, I got to prep for a stream with Jay. I'm going to close this one out. There's a new one. So God bless you all. Actually, no, he said he's running late. So we can hang out a tiny bit. Does he get any crazier? I mean, who knows? Does he get any kookier? Okay, he's talking about if there's apostolic succession, there needs to be 23andMe. Okay, that's a weird argument for sure. Oh, that's a good, that should have been my freeze frame for this. Where is that? Oh my gosh, dude, where is that?
14 and 14 plus 14. 14 plus 14 is 28.
Oh my gosh. One plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 plus 6 plus 7 is 28. 1 times 2 times 3 times 4 times 5 times 6 times 7 is 5,040. 5,040 divided by 28 is 180. What are the odds? What are the odds?
G's on our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Wait, why are you counting in threes? Wait, hold on a second. Why are you counting in threes? Marty, why are you arbitrarily counting in threes, crazy guy?
13 and 14, and 14 plus 14. 14 plus 14 is 28.
Oh my gosh.
And 28 is just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 together.
Unbelievable. Did you do that yourself? Wait, did you do all of that work yourself? Huh. Wait a second. I want to make sure I'm getting this right from the teacher. Let me just get this again.
Why is this important?
Why is this important? You can't tell me. How is this important to being a good father and participating in Christ? I can't actually tell you.
Because we have 28 phalanges on our hands. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
Oh, I see. He's counting phalanges, these sections. That means something. Right? The phalanges mean something.
10, 11, 12, 13, and 14. And 14 plus 14. 14
Okay.
plus 14 is
All
28.
Right. Okay.
And 28 is just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 together.
That's it. Is that all it is? It's also adding a couple of other numbers together if you just change the numbers. You know what I'm saying? It's not just adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 together. There's actually a variety of ways to add to 28. You kind of forgot those.
So in other words, it's the seventh triangular
Thumbs are not fingers, technically. Uh-oh.
number. Is 7 used in the Bible at all?
Dude, this guy's a nut job. Look at that face. That's the face of someone who's waiting for the next comet to come. I mean, this is nuttery. Look at his face. Okay, now that I established the number 7 exists somewhere in reality, and it could be everywhere. I mean, I could find the number 7 in a variety of things out there in the world, probably endlessly. But I just want to piece this together for you guys. Do we see the number 7 in the Bible? This is all, I'm going to bring it all together, you guys.
I mean, it's literally how God creates everything. The number 7. It's put right in front of you. It's
No, God speaks into existence. He doesn't create with the number 7.
on your feet, too. What I'm trying to do is help
You're going to help people?
these folk that
You're going to help us?
don't know literally anything, wake up.
We're going to wake up? You're doing the wake up meme? You're doing the wake up meme? You're going to wake people up? That to addition? That numbers can add to things? Yeah. Sesame Street was brought to you by the number 7. That's a funny skit, dude. Gnostic Sesame Street with a puppet Marty leads is hilarious. You're going to wake up? Okay. Hey, Marty. What did we gain from adding numbers? Please tell me. What did we gain?
To what's literally right in front of them.
Such a meme, dude. Way to be your own cliche, man. I'm waking you up to what's in front of you. Really?
This is what a true apostle does.
He's a parody.
He sets his church straight.
Dude, the pride is crazy. He just called himself an apostle. And he smiled after.
Wake up to what's literally right in front of them. This is what a true apostle does. He sets his church straight.
Dude. Lord have mercy. This is what a true apostle does. Sets his church straight. Dude, you're literally theologically masturbating in front of people. The levels of pride, zero humility. Zero. Not even a little tiny bit visible. You know what else has 28? The amount of days in February. Explain that, Jim Bob. You guys are egotistical. By the way, I'm an apostle. Oh, this Orthodox tradition, 1,000 years of humility and lowering yourself, fasting. The pride and the ego from these people. Also, Justin, I'm an apostle and I'm setting the church straight.
7 times the blood has been spilled in the author. 7 days in Egypt was all the water and blood. 7 days the children of Israel. 7. We all know that 7 is clearly an important mystical number around the world, let alone in the Bible. So we also know that this is when I say that I've received this gnosis, it came in the form of 7, and this is exactly what the symbolism is of the 7 gifts of the Holy Spirit. When you're ready, that just as it shows right there, that dove comes down from the heavens. It doesn't come from a bishop, a saint. It doesn't matter if some Orthodox priest lays his hands on me and says,
where did he get this picture, by the way?
you're an apostle now. That doesn't mean anything. Nothing. It happens.
28 is also 4 plus 6 plus 8 plus 10. Explain that, Jim Bob.
When the Spirit actually comes down, just like this. And what is
The 7 wonders of the world.
it give you? 7.
The movie 7.
7. So the septenary is of the hands, right? So this is it's a septenary. It's a 7-fold. It's on the hands. And it's this 28 so 28 is, and that's the 7 triangular number. So all we're doing is adding 1,
Wow, he's really owning orthodoxy.
2, 3, 4.
Justin Henley says 40 years in the desert, 40 years of Lent, 40 years nativity, 40 ounces of malt liquor. Explain that.
4, 5, 6, 7 together. And that's right in front of you, on your hands and on your
Revelation from 7-11.
feet. Now, why is this important? Because
9-11. 9 is just 2 more than 7. 7's still there. So,
when you multiply
what's in the
those numbers,
box?
it gives you 5,040. And I'll just say this, for those of you who have been following along, we know that that squares the circle.
I'm following along.
So then we see that
Tomorrow is the 28th of January. Explain that, Jim Bob. Explain that. Huh? The more I watch your stream, the less I'm funny your comedy becomes. I'm funny. Explain that,
5,040.
Dane. Hey, Dane, explain. There's probably 7 somewhere in your sentence. Why don't you just focus on explaining that? 007.
This is 2 numbers you get
Ever think about that?
from literally just adding multiple. 5,000.
It's easy to make fun of a crazy person claiming Gnosticism doesn't mean there isn't something there. What's there? Notice how you're not saying what's there. Do you know that you could find numbers and adding things everywhere? Do you know that you could never be wrong when you add numbers? Like you could always find somewhere in numbers where you can find 7. You can endlessly, Big League Drew, endlessly go into the physical world and find the number 7 somewhere. But you could also find any number, anywhere. Why? Numbers aren't real in material. They're not events. So when you point to things and make meaning of numbers, you're arbitrarily determining where there's, quote, something there, Big League Drew. Okay? Here, I'll ask it in reverse, just to try to get you to understand. Isn't it true that any place you look, you could make the math work so that there's something there? In other words, there is no place in reality using math. There's no place in reality you can look where there isn't something there. That's why it's lunacy, because there's never not something there. It's like when the Evo proponent says, this is a transitional fossil. Everything is a transitional fossil if evolution was true. Just saying something there is your feeling, right? When you're not saying anything. You never said anything about numbers? I'm sorry. Am I critiquing someone talking about numbers? What are you talking about? You never said anything about numbers. We're talking about this. We're talking about these numbers, right? What are you talking about? You gaslighting me? There's nothing to offer. Gnosticism offers you nothing. It's pure pursuit of descriptives, okay? Pure, that's all it is, dude. Anyway, Jay is setting up the stream. You could watch the rest of that at Marty Leeds, Gnostic Academy. Total nonsense machine. Total nonsense machine. So anyway, I will restart a stream right here in just a second. See you guys in 10 minutes or less, okay? 7 plus 7. When did I end? Oh my gosh, it's 2:04. 4 plus 2. Oh my gosh, it's 5. It's 2:05. 5 plus 2 is 7. It's 127. 7 plus 2 is plus 1 is 10. I have 10 fingers. 10 fingers is 28. Okay, all right. Okay, now I get it. Now I get it.
I would like to know if you designed me as a 7-11 vagine or a 9-11 vagine?
Yeah. A 9/11, yeah. Well, I have to decide that actually. Let me decide on that. Dane says, like Farrakhan, Washington Monument 555 feet high, but if it were put one in front of the other that's 555 feet, we get 1555, the year that our first fathers landed on the shores of Jamestown. Oh yeah. It works on people. There's something in it that works with people where they go, it all clicks, you know, that feeling. Like if you could, I think hypnotists do this, like mentalists. They constantly give their audience the experience that it's clicking. Oh, it clicked. Oh, it clicked again. And it really is, it's a manipulation. It's really sick too. Because it leads them nowhere but back to the person making the statements. That's why Marty Leeds loves it. Because it gives, all those people come back to him with questions. Oh, what about this? Can you tell me about this? It's like he's the source of the wisdom. He's the source. He's the source of gnosis. Admittedly, he says it. He says he's the source of the gnosis. Anyway, I'll see you right back here in a couple minutes. All right. Let's get on out of here, shall we? Should I, maybe I should I transfer you to me? Look, I'm going to transfer you to me. Now this is egotistical. I'm going to transfer you to me. What a sicko. Really sick stuff going on. I can tell that most of you here have never looked very far into Gnosticism. You can't tell that at all. You're just making that shit up. I've done deep dives on Gnosticism on this channel. You don't know what you're talking about.